All right, you guys, here we go. We are ready to start our next section. If you remember, if you've been following along, we have Sticky and Rainy in the Whispering Gallery. And Sticky has just said that he would like to go first so that Rainy can continue working on trying to get a hold of Kate and Constance and get some sort of plan in action. So here we go. We're in the middle of page 421. Mr. Curtin laughed his screechy laugh. Ha ha ha! I dare say Reynard feels much the same, George. But let's not quibble. Reynard went first last time. You may go first this time. Take your seat. At last Sticky met Rainy's gaze, which was now full of gratitude and admiration. With a quick nod, Sticky turned and climbed into the Whisperer. Immediately, Mr. Curtin whizzed over to sit behind him. He fitted his head inside the red helmet and barked, "La Drotha Curtin!" The cuffs sprang up around Sticky's wrists. The blue helmet lowered. "Sticky Washington?" Sticky said aloud, closing his eyes. Rainy watched his friend's face grow tense with the effort of resisting. He knew the Whisperer wanted Sticky's given name. "Sticky Washington," Sticky repeated. He's trying to stall, remember? Because what does the Whisperer want him to say? His real name, George Washington. So he's stalling, trying hard to resist, and he's going to keep saying Sticky Washington. "Hold on, Sticky," thought Rainy, his eyes darting towards Mr. Curtin's face, which seemed both tired and troubled. Had Mr. Curtin already sensed there was going to be a problem? He was frowning with concentration. His eyes were closed. How long could Sticky hold on? Knowing his resistance might betray him, knowing all he must do to relieve his terror was to cooperate, knowing he was but moments away from the wonderful relief. It would be like not trying to scratch the most powerful itch anyone had ever known. Rainy moved silently over towards the window. "Sticky Washington," Sticky said again, in a much weaker voice, and Rainy knew they hadn't much time. Mr. Curtin's eyes were still closed. Now was his chance. Rainy waved his hand back and forth in front of the window. It was dark outside, but the room was well lit. His hand would be visible from the outside. Back and forth he waved, back and forth, back and forth. Please, please, let somebody notice, he thought. Please, Rhonda, let it be true what you said. Through the telescope, we appear to be only a few feet away. Through the telescope, you watch the island constantly. Please, let it be true. And please, let your eyes be sharp. With one final attention-getting wave, he placed his hand against the glass so that the message that was scrawled on his hand could be read. If only someone was out there to read it. We need K and C here, now. K and C, as it happened, were still in bed. It had been an awful night for Kate. Try as she might, she couldn't forget the look in Milligan's eyes as the executives and recruiters paraded him through the cafeteria. She slept poorly, in and out of a doze, constantly worried and miserable, and never once did she have a shred of an idea of what to do. Now it was almost dawn, time to rise, though rising hardly seemed worth the trouble. Worsening Kate's mood, if that was possible, was a distant, irritating, beeping sound. The erratic honking of a faraway horn, a car alarm on the mainland, or some obnoxious kid fooling around with an air horn. It had been going on for several minutes now. Long honks, short honks, long honks again, and on and on. Long, short, long, short, short, long, right? Irritating and irritatingly familiar, like something she was supposed to remember but couldn't. Almost like a code, she thought. Almost like Morse code, Kate said aloud, sitting bolt upright in bed. A long honk, a short honk, a long one again, a pause. That would be a K. She listened intently. Here came some more. Oh, why hadn't she been studying her Morse code? Flying to her desk, Kate wrote the code down as it came. Short, long, long, short, long, short, short. A pause. That spelled the word and. She was fairly sure. Long, short, long, short. A C, K, and C. Will somebody please turn that stupid alarm off? Constance moaned in her sleep. Shh! No, don't shh! Constance, wake up! We're being signaled! But Constance was lost in a foggy sleep, only burying her head under her pillow. The code kept coming. Kate struggled to decipher it. I hope the boys are getting this, she thought. Sticky will know it for sure. After a pause, the message started to repeat, and Kate studied what she had jotted down. K and C to Flauto were now... Oh, good grief, it made no sense at all. K and C stood for Kate and Constance, obviously. But what did Flauto mean? Was it Spanish? Oh, Latin? Again, she hoped Sticky was listening. He knew every language in the book. Here came the message again. Kate paid close attention, careful not to mistake short for long or vice versa, making sure to recognize the pauses. She came up with this. K and C to Flow Tower now. What in the world was a Flow Tower, anyway? Flag Tower, she exclaimed, realizing her mistake. Good gravy, Kate. The boys are in the flag tower already. Constance, wake up. Quiet down, came the muffled voice from beneath the pillow. Kate threw on her shoes, fastened her bucket to her belt. Who knew how long they'd been up there? Who knew what sort of danger they were in? What if she was too late? She'd have to... Kate stopped in mid-thought, staring at the tiny lump of bedclothes that was Constance Contrary. How could she possibly make it with that belligerent girl along? Kate would have to carry her, assuming she could even get her out of bed. What if Constance slowed her down so much she couldn't help the boys in time? It occurred to Kate to leave her behind, an inviting thought, so inviting that she almost did just that. She went to the door. She hesitated. She looked back. The plan had called for all four of them. That was what Mr. Benedict had said mattered most. And it was what they agreed upon only yesterday. All four of them. That was the plan. No way would she be the one to mess it up. In a flash, Kate was at the bedside, shaking Constance like a maraca. Wake up, Constance! It's an emergency! Even with the shaking and the urging, it took Kate a minute to get Constance fully awake. Dawn had broken. Daylight grew stronger by the second, and with it her fear that she would be too late. By the time Constance understood what was happening, Kate had jammed her shoes onto her feet. Get on my back, she ordered, ignoring Constance's whining that her toes hurt. Kate had forced the shoes on the wrong foot. Constance climbed on, still grumbling, and Kate dashed from the room. Okay, the girls are on the way. I just hope that they're in time. Okay, we'll read more later.